Hey guys, thanks again for joining us for another part of What If Asta and Deku were twin brothers. We're going to get right into it, but before we do, make sure that you give this video a thumbs up, make sure that you subscribe, make sure that you hit that notification bell so you never miss a video. Also, follow me on Twitter and join the discussion on Discord. There is a link for that down in the description. With that being said, let's do this. 7-year-old Asta opens his eyes and jumps out of his bed. He runs to Izuku's, shaking it. He calls for his brother to wake up. The other child pulls open his eyes. With a yawn, the boy sits up. He stares at his twin, silently waiting for an explanation. Asta smiles wide. "I tested something yesterday, something you gotta try with me today." "What is it, Asta?" asks Izuku as he drags himself out of bed. He throws on some clothes and follows his brother out of their room. Asta leads the boy outside. He wills the massive black sword that is his quirk into existence. It slams into the ground. Still grinning like an idiot, he points to the sword. Izuku looks at the sword and then his brother. He sighs. "Yeah, I know. You have a quirk." "No, I told you, I tried something. I have been training really hard, and now," Asta pauses to grab the handle of the sword. Grunting, he lifts it a few inches off the ground. The boy drops it and continues. "I showed Bakugo yesterday. It made him mad. He tried to lift it too, but could only shift it a little." Izuku is already steps ahead of his brother. Someone other than the user might be able to wield Asta's quirk. For most people, that sword would cancel their quirk. However, the downside would not hinder someone who is quirkless. He moves closer to the sword and grips it. He strains as hard as he can, but it won't budge. Letting go, he sighs. "I guess I have to start training too." "Yep," says Asta, before their attention is drawn elsewhere. Sounds of a battle outside the gate of their home draws the boys out. They watch as a large hulking figure runs their way. He is dragging an armored truck by a chain. Behind him follow a few security guards, but they are falling fast behind. As the beast of a man bears down on them, Izuku steps back, but Asta stands there staring. A second figure has caught his eyes, draped in a luxurious red robe with a blue 6-point star on his forehead. The hero springs in action. Reaching out, he touches the villain and he calls out, "Chronostasis!" A bright blue circle surrounds the giant and freezes him in place. Izuku places a hand on his brother's shoulder. It shakes the other kid from his daze. He asks the boy, whose nose is deep in a notebook, who is that hero? "He's called the Wizard King," replied Izuku. While he continues jotting notes, his brother watches the hero leave. Asta stares at the villain until he is finally dragged away. Then he declares, "That was so cool! I'm gonna be the next Wizard King!" Izuku snickers at his brother's remark and shakes his head. "It doesn't work like that. Besides, what kind of wizard uses a sword?" "This one!" shouts Asta as he runs back through the gate and inside the house. Izuku follows him in, still shaking his head. 7 years later, Izuku stands in the middle of a crowd of people. They watch a giant villain rampaging. None of them are afraid, as heroes are already on the scene. Kamui Woods lets his lacquered chains fly. They reach out and trap the giant, but Mount Lady soars by with a leaping kick to the villain's face. Izuku furiously takes notes as he watches the newer heroes take action. A man behind him asks if he wants to be a hero. The boy nods with a sad smile on his face. The man doesn't seem to notice the yearning behind the smile and wishes the boy luck. "He doesn't need luck," calls a voice. Asta shoves his way through the crowd, placing a hand on his brother's shoulder. He smirks and continues, "He's got my quirk." The man seems confused by this statement, but does not reply. He just nods and returns to his commute to work. The two boys take that cue to do the same. They head for school. Later that day, the two of them sit in class. Their teacher talks about planning for the future. He notes that everyone wants to be a pro hero, but few will ever make it. Asta calls out, "I'm going to be the next Wizard King. It doesn't matter how hard I have to train." Before the teacher can reply, Bakugo roars, "Let me guess, you still think you can get into UA?" Yeah, why wouldn't I? Asta yells as he leans towards the other kid. Bakugo slams his head into Asta and growls, "'Cause you can barely pass any of your classes! Who wants a hero that can barely write?" Izuku asks with a calm edge in his voice, "Are you expecting him to save people with letters?" "Shut up, Deku! You're probably dumb enough to still think that you have a chance too, you stupid nerd!" Bakugo reaches for Izuku's notebook. Asta grabs Bakugo's arm. The boy pulls away and growls. What kind of hero has to borrow someone else's quirk? Izuku does not say anything, his eyes moving to look to the floor. Asta senses his brother's frustration, but cannot find words for him, so he keeps focusing on Bakugo. "Well, what kind of hero is a big jerk?" "The kind that already aced UA High's mock exam," replies the other boy, ignoring the insult. He locks eyes with Asta. The two glare at each other for a moment. Then Bakugo turns and walks away. He spouts to the class. "Don't lump me in with losers like these two. Asta couldn't even get into a mock exam with his grades. Deku doesn't have a quirk to make it through the practical exam. I'm gonna leave them behind and surpass even All Might." Midoriya's brother watches their friend leave in silence. The two of them pack up their things and head for home. It is a while before they speak, leaving school well behind them. Asta says, "Don't worry about Bakugo. He's just scared." "Of what? The quirkless wonder and his dumb brother?" asks Izuku. His voice is low and full of disdain. He kicks a rock and sends it tumbling down a hill. His brother looks at him, his face full of concern. When Izuku looks up at Asta, his brother's expression angers him. With a huff, he takes off down the hill and into the tunnel. A cut-off scream reaches Asta's ears before he moves. When it does, he bursts into motion, racing down the street. He pulls out his sword and dives into the tunnel. A second later, his eyes adjust. They fall upon Izuku wrapped up in sludge. Asta calls out for his brother and rushes forward. He swings his sword, but the blade is heavy and slow. The creature drags his brother back. "Izuku, I will save you!" Asta swings again and again, but each swing is easy to read. None of them hit their mark. The sludge villain begins to mock him. He continues to swing and miss and swing and miss and swing and miss. Frustration and desperation grip the edge of his mind. These feelings threaten to overwhelm him. Texas Smash! Winds blow through the tunnel, sending the sludge flying off of Izuku. The boy falls to the ground unconscious. Asta stumbles back and drops his sword. He looks up to see the number one hero standing there with 2 bags of groceries. The boy's jaw drops and shouts, "Wow, that was amazing!" Then the boy remembers his brother. He dashes to his side, picks him up. Asta compels his brother to wake up by screaming his name and shaking him. All Might tries to calm the boy, treating the other like a rag doll. Izuku coughs, his eyes flutter open, and he spits some sludge out and murmurs, "I'm alive! 'Cause All Might saved you! All Might!" stammers Izuku. He finally seems to notice that his idol is standing next to him. Upon his realization, he crawls backward and stands up. Bowing profusely, he thanks the hero for rescuing him. All Might replies that he is just glad that the boy is safe. The hero's face falls sullen as he remembers the sludge villain. He looks around to see the tunnel is absent of any trace of the creature. "He got away. I must go and search for him. You boys be careful." All Might sprints away. Izuku wanted to grab a hold of him. He had so many questions. Maybe it was the missing villain. Maybe it was the fact that he would be leaving his brother behind. He might never have known what it was, but something stopped him. "I was really worried there." Asta's voice breaks the silence. Izuku turns towards him and nods, his knees still shaking. He lets out a sigh and smiles. "But All Might was awesome!" "Let's go home. I can't wait to tell Mom about this," shouts Asta as he takes off towards home. Izuku gives chase and calls, "Wait, Asta, maybe we shouldn't tell Mom." The two argue about whether or not to tell their mother about the day's events on their way home. When they reach the gate, Izuku caves a little bit, his excitement welling up. "All right, we can tell Mom, but let's leave out the part that she almost lost her oldest son. No need to worry her." You're like half a second older than me, Asta yells. The older boy laughs and says that it still makes him the elder of the two. The white-haired teen nods and then agrees not to tell their mom about Izuku being attacked. The two rush in to tell their mother about the meeting the #1 pro hero. Well, guys, thanks again for watching the second part of What If Asta and Deku Were Twin Brothers. Guys, hey, make sure that you subscribe. Make sure that you give this video a thumbs up. And hey, you know what? Hit that notification bell so you never miss a video. And we will see you guys next time.